everybody, it's Mushy. Today our lesson is a review of the area model, but we're going to be building on the video that I made previously last week by adding in two-digit divisors, which we have been working on in class using the long division algorithm. But now we're going to use the area, or rectangular is also it's called, or box method. Let's get started. Our first problem reads like so: 2048 divided by 32. Alright, the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to draw a box, which, as you know, is my favorite part. And I know it's everybody's favorite part. Okay, so inside the box you are putting the number that you are dividing into. Remember that from my last video, okay? So that would be 2048. The number that you're dividing 2048 by goes on the outside of the box. So 32 would go to the left of the box. Now, a couple things you need to remember with this method. Do remember that we talked last week about the zero buddy concept, and this does still apply to dividing by two-digit divisors. Remember, zero buddy, where every number inside of the house has a buddy on the outside of the house. May it be the factor you are multiplying by or a zero. Alright, now that we've gone ahead and talked about that, let's, on the side of our paper, put the division algorithm. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Now remember, the division algorithm can sort of apply to this method, but there are some changes. Alright. So the first thing that you need to remember to do is ask yourself, what does 32 round to? And the most logical number it rounds to would be 30. So we're going to put a little 30 above the 32, kind of as a friendly reminder. All right, let's go ahead and get started. 30 does not go into 2. It's just too small. So we're going to put a 0 on top of the 2. 30 can also not go into 20. It's just too small. So we're going to end up circling 204 inside of the box. Alright, this is where you need to know your multiples. And we're just going to start counting up. Everybody got their fingers ready? Okay. Let's do a couple stretches together. Put your arm up. Wave to me. Make sure your fingers are nice and stretched. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? You are ready to skip count. I know you're ready. Let's go ahead and start. So remember, we're going to be skip counting by 30 until we get as close to 204 as possible. Here we go. 30, 60, 90, keep going, 120, 150, so we should have 5 fingers up so far. 30 times 6 is 180, 30 times 7 is 210. That's too much. So the factor that we're going to start with is 6. Okay? So off to the side, you are going to do 32 times 6. We're going to see if we are close. Okay. You should have gotten 192. That's what you should have gotten off to the side. Alright, that's pretty good. We're going to put a 6 on top of the 4. Do remember, you need to have a 0 buddy on top of the 8, making this now 60. Alright, 6 times 30 is 192. Don't forget that 0 buddy. Okay, bring that 0 buddy down. And now we're going to subtract and get any remainders. Okay, we're going to have to borrow, similar to yesterday. You should have gotten 128. 128 is not smaller than 32. So, what is the step that you have to do now? Yes, you have to draw another box. And any remainders go in that box. And we start again. 32 cannot go into 1. It's just too small. 32 cannot go into 12. It's just too small. So we're going to end up dividing 32 into 128. Okay, we're going to skip count by 30s until we get as close to 128 as possible. Here we go. Ready? Fingers ready. 30, 60, 90, 120. You should have 4 fingers up, and we're going to stop there. So we're going to put a 4 on top of the house, and then we're going to multiply off to the side 32 times 4, and let's see if we get close. Well, look at that, people. Do you see that? 128. Perfect. This is exactly what we needed. So we're going to subtract, and we're not going to get any remainders. So that means that we are done with our dividing part. We're not quite done with the problem. Remember, you have to add together the numbers that you have on top of the house. So we would add together 60 plus 4 equals 64. So 2,048 divided by 32 equals 64. 64 even. All right, let's go ahead and try another problem, shall we? Okay, we're going to do this problem together. So you should have out and ready a loose leaf or a notebook in order to complete this problem. Okay, so the first step in the area or array box method is you have to draw a box. And you know that's my favorite part. Okay, remember the number you're dividing into goes into the box. So 5,245. The number you're dividing by goes outside of the box. If you find it helpful and you want to write small off to the side on your paper, the division algorithm, you can. It's totally up to you. Alright, so you should have 5,245 divided by 51. Next step that you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, what does 51 round to? What is the most logical number it would round to? You should have determined that 51 rounds to 50. So you're going to write a little 50 above the 51. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get started. This problem, looking at it, I'm feeling really confident. Do you want to know why I feel so confident? Do you? Do you? I will tell you. I'm feeling confident, people, here because I know how to count by 5s. I know my 50s. Believe it or not, I'm pretty excited to go ahead and get started with this problem. So let's get going. All right, 50 cannot go into 5. It's just too small. So we're going to go ahead and put a 0 on top of the house. 51 can go into 52 one time. But do not forget your 0 buddies. Oh, right. Okay, so 1 times 51, it's pretty easy. Any number times 1 is itself. It's 51. Don't forget your 0 buddies. All right, so you should have 5,100. We're going to subtract and bring down any remainders. You should have 145. Not too bad. 145 is still bigger than 51, so you know we have to draw another box and put any remainders inside this new box. So pretty much we've taken the number down here and rewritten it right there. Okay? And we repeat. How many times does 51 go into 1? It can't. 51 can't go into 14, so we're going to end up circling 145. Alright, now is where you're going to start counting by 50s until you get to 145. 50, 100, 150. Okay, 150 is too big. So we're going to start with 51 times 2. So we will have gotten 102. I'm going to do 51 times 3 just to be on the safe side. But I have a strong suspicion that we're going to go over. And yes, we did go over. So we're going to put the factor of 2 on top. We don't need to put any more 0 buddies. Every number has a buddy. 2 times 51 is 102. We're going to subtract, bring down any remainders. Okay, so you have at the end 43. 43 is smaller than 51. What do you do now? Okay, you should have identified that 43 is your remainder number. You can't divide into it anymore. You are done with the dividing part of this now. So this is pretty easy. 100 plus 2 is 102. Your answer is 102, remainder 43, because don't forget, you need to put the 43 up here. How are we feeling on this? Feeling a little bit better? All right, because we're going to practice this today. All right, there you have it. I have provided you with yet another strategy for dividing whole numbers. You are most welcome. I told you that over the weekend I was searching long and hard for another way to divide two-digit whole numbers, and I have successfully found a way using a strategy that we talked about last week, which was the area or box method. I really would like you to practice this today. You now have two options, long division or the area box method. You choose what works for yourself when dividing. I know that at times some of these concepts can feel overwhelming, but please know that I have complete confidence in you, and I know that you are going to do well with this. Remember, take your time. Know your facts, people. Please, I cannot stress it enough. You've got to know your facts. So take your time, know those facts, and make sure you're checking through your work in order to make sure that you're doing the correct steps in the correct order and that you are not making any sort of silly errors. Again, have fun with dividing. You have a couple different strategies to do it. I know that you can if you keep practicing and showing perseverance. All right, let's get dividing.